How do we know what we know?
A theorem is only a fact in the context of the axioms on which it is based. Remove one of these axioms, and all the proofs that depend on it fall apart. Just make sure your axioms are valid and all is good in your little makeshift world. But there's a problem. In fact, all mathematical facts and axioms are just fundamentally flawed. Take a look at Gödel's incompleteness theorem, for example. It basically states that if math has no contradictions, it can't be complete. And if it's not complete, then it must have contradictions. What? So it turns out even a subject as pure mathematics has this uncertainty principle that governs just how much it can tell us. There are just unknowables in the universe that no matter how much we know about the world or our entire universe, there's certain things that we'll just never be able to prove. That is just so weird. This Hilbert guy comes along and has 3 questions for mathematics that he wanted to answer. The first of all was completeness. Is mathematics powerful enough to prove every single statement true or false? Turns out this first one was a big no. Gödel's incompleteness theorem shows that this quite literally cannot be true. Second of all is consistent. Can a logical system ever be free of contradictions? No, it seems like Gödel's also invalidates this as well. Last but not least, is mathematics decidable? Meaning, is there always an algorithm that can determine whether a statement follows from the axioms in that system? It happens to turn into a big no. Turing's halting problem quite literally proves this. If we look at the most basic levels of particle physics, if you know every single little detail about the microscopic interactions between a material's particles, you still can't even tell what the overall particle will behave like. So guess what? Math doesn't really tell us that much about our universe if we only look at the small parts. This reminds me a lot of the systems thinking approach to thinking about the universe. Systems thinking is holistic. It attempts to derive understanding of parts from the behavior and property of wholes, rather than derive the behavior and properties of wholes from those of their parts. I'm not in systems design engineering, so that's my best shot at it, but anyways, that's pretty much just a tangent. But the TLDR is that axioms and overall systems of logic don't like contradictions that much. But the truth is, humans encounter contradictions all the time. Why is it that none of these contradictions flips our entire worldview upside down every time we hear it? Why is it that humans can have contradictory opinions? I did some more reading about this, and it turns out we just compartmentalize things really well, like beliefs, practices, emotions. In certain domains of life, some behaviors and actions are acceptable, but others aren't. For instance, lying can be seen even as a heroic act if you're doing it to save someone's life or protect victims from abuse and systemic mistreatment. But in a friendly, casual relationship, outright lying is just unacceptable. So as humans, we just need to mentally figure out which situations certain behaviors are acceptable and which ones are not. Actually, this is a pretty big problem in the realm of computer science too, which is figuring out what information is relevant to the current problem right now. And it's one that still hasn't been fully solved yet either. The problem is, at the end of the day, these human heuristics that we use to kind of decide whether something's acceptable or not is not accurate all the time. And this leads us to be okay with contradictions because we're just so used to them happening. Anyways, I just found that difference pretty interesting. Those are my thoughts for this week. Head is now officially empty. See you Friday. For real this time.